Hello, everybody, and welcome to Live Story Generation on the Spot. We are Young Screenwriters, an online community resource for up-and-coming screenwriters, and we are joined by our very favorite, Avi, to help us write a heist.
A heist
with
movie.
Nothing planned.
Bringing the team together.
Yep. Nothing planned. So we are going to rely on you all to help us come up with some stuff for it and try to fill in some gaps. I just shared the tentpole document that we're going to be building out together here. You all have the link if you wanted to follow along and just look at it over there. But yeah, how have you been, Avi? We'll do some chit chat.
I've been okay. It's been a busy time, but I've been okay. How are you?
Good, pretty good.
Yeah. All right. And Adam?
I'm doing fairly well. I'm excited to do this. I personally really like heists, but I feel like I'm waiting for the big one. You know, I'm waiting for the next movie that's going to make people excited about heists again, and I feel like it hasn't been written. Like, you know what Ocean's 11 was, and then everybody was like obsessed with heists. I'm waiting for that, and I think we're gonna hit with it in the next 2-3 years. But that's my feeling about heist movies.
Well, that's what this is going to be. We're going to write it.
Oh, we're going to write it right now.
Right now. This is going to be incredibly hard because like the best heists in retrospect look so easy, but are so complicated. And it's right. I can't imagine it's particularly easy to come up with one on the spot. It's going to be interesting.
Well, let's just take a stab at it and see where we land. My big idea going into this, this is the only thing I thought of, that I think could maybe like put us in a direction. You guys can maybe veto at me or whatever, but my idea is, what if we set this in the past? Maybe significantly so, maybe like at least something that would put us not in the 20th century. Because I feel like we've seen, heist films from the 60s. We've seen heist films in the last 20 years. We've seen a lot of heist films play on technology and like, oh, we've got to hack into the vault at the bottom of the casino. Like, I've seen that movie a lot. I wonder what a heist in the past would look like. So I guess we just have to pick a time and a place, maybe.
Okay.
That's a way to go.
Let's just commit to heist in the past then. Let's do it.
Heist in the past.
Why not?
I feel
like anybody...
I was
going to ask if anybody had any ideas.
Oh, well, just sort of vaguely, I wonder if it might make sense to sort of orient it around like a historic disaster or a big sort of flashpoint, because I can imagine people sort of using that as cover for their robbery, essentially. Like, throwing out, like, not necessarily the idea that I would go with, but it's like the 1912, earthquake in California. It's like, while that's happening, I wonder if we can finally execute this heist that we've been planning for years. I don't know. Like that's like the incredibly dumb version, but the idea of it isn't just in the past, but it's oriented around a very specific flashpoint in history could be interesting.
I love that.
Cool.
I love that. So let's find a disaster or an event that
300 BC. Yeah.
Should we first kind of determine what a heist, specifies what a heist genre movie is?
Let me back up and explain this process for anybody who's new. I realized I forgot to do that in the very beginning.
So we're just jumping ahead.
I know, we're ready to do it. So what we're doing today is we are building a tentpole document, which is basically a movie from beginning to end for a film that we're making up with you right now. So we're coming up with all of the major story beats. And really, once you have this tentpole document, you know what your movie is. Like, you know what you're dealing with. And there's not a lot of steps between that and putting it on the page. So this is sort of an exercise to show how, like, our way of approaching story, and how it's kind of like a puzzle and what pieces you need to be thinking about and when and how they're all interconnected. So it's a good way to see if, like, how this works and if it's something that makes sense to you. And typically what we do is we start by brainstorming at the top, just like writing in some like random details, and then we'll start filling out the rest of this document. And by the time we're done, usually we have a movie that all of us are surprised we like. And normally at the very beginning we're always like, is this gonna work? I don't know. And then by the end it tends to work out. So that's the beginning. So now let's talk about, Avi was going to talk about what is a heist.
Well, I was at least going to open up the floor, because to be honest, it's not a genre that I'm particularly versed in. I've never written one, but it's like what do we all know, right? Generally, a heist involves a robbery. There's a specific thing that somebody wants to steal, and instead of stealing it through brute force, they steal it through skill and planning and subterfuge, typically with a team of specialists who each have their own specific skill that they contribute to the heist. These, I wonder if we can talk about what kind of specific tropes these movies should have. Like, one of them off the top of my head is usually the plan that we think we're watching turns out to actually be a little bit of a red herring, where it turns out there's always kind of something a little bit more simple happening kind of off to the side. The kind of thing that once they reveal it in the end, the audience both says, of course, and also, wait, I didn't notice that. So I'm not sure how to best describe that, but most great heist movies that I've seen tend to have that, of like, while we were looking at this, it's like, we have failed. Oh, did we? It turns out that actually this tiny little thing over here was crucial and doing the robbery the whole time,
Yeah.
And there's always a assembly of a team of experts.
Yeah.
And twist.
Tropes.
Yeah, it's fun.
Tropes.
Heist movies are fun. They're not self-serious, There's a twinkle in the eye, I think, tonally. They're like like Ocean's 11 represents like the best fun of like a heist movie, in that it's not taking itself too seriously, but it's serious enough to be coherent.
What is the darkest heist that you have seen? Like tonally?
That's a good question.
Like, I keep thinking about how Inception is so straight-faced, even though it has its moments.
Yeah,
of
Inception
twinkle.
is probably the best dark heist I've seen. Most of the heist movies that I think of that I like are lighter. For sure.
I'd say that another part.
Yeah, this is true. James is correct.
Yeah, the big thing I think is that they explain exactly how the heist is supposed to go, and then every single part of the plan has to get knocked upside down. Yeah, typically there is like like at the midpoint, everything is ruined. Like, whatever plan they went in, something is wrong. Like, someone is like their
Obstacles.
sick cracker gets kidnapped, or like somebody, like there was an alarm they weren't anticipating. There's something at the middle that completely f's it all up. So
here's an idea that's very specific, and maybe people can make it better. But what about like Spanish bullion? Like, there's a ship, and it's not like a pirate movie, but like there's a ship and it's transported and it's kind of impenetrable. It's got a fleet protecting it, and somebody wants like the load in the ship. I don't know.
Maybe.
wait, has that been
done? It's totally done.
No. I'm wondering, has there been like a pirate heist?
I don't know. I don't think I've seen it. But that would be kind of fun. A pirate heist.
Be interesting.
Like,
Where it's not like
'cause,
ship
that's
to
what
ship
it is.
battle. It's like maybe
it's like-
infiltration on the seas. That would be interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
We might want to be a little careful so as not to say that this is also a pirate movie and then have to get into what all those tropes are.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I don't know. I don't feel like
Maybe.
I've never seen something go in that direction and not be a pirate movie.
Right. The main thing is heist movies tend to not become stick-ups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if they do become stick-ups, it's because that's a very, specific part of the plan. Like in the movie Widows, which I would argue is a heist movie, most of the story is planning this particular kind of home invasion, and then they actually have to do it, and then they are holding people at gunpoint.
So what if like there's no gunpoint, no stick 'em up, but how would that idea work if we don't devolve to that? Like
So like pirates that like if it was modern, then you'd have people like scuba diving under the ship and like
Yeah. I like the idea of it being in the past still, but
we could do it in the past. Maybe someone can really hold their breath for a long time, and that's who they hire.
Well, there
This
would
guy
be
who went over Niagara Falls in a barrel, and they hire him because he can hold
We
his
could
breath.
keep the idea of it being like maybe not money in the traditional sense, like it's an artifact or something. That's important.
Ooh,
A plundered
Yeah.
golden
Yeah.
statue.
Yeah.
And
swords.
maybe so like if in a more traditional action movie the plan would be attack the boat, fire guns in all directions, have an escape boat ready, and grab the thing and run. In a heist, you'd have somebody kind of pretend to be a gold inspector who's going to figure out how much it can be fenced for, but actually they're there under false pretenses, and they'll swap it out for the false gold statue that somebody else has crafted, but then somebody notices and everything goes wrong. Like that's the difference between a heist and a general kind of crime movie, I guess.
I kind of like the pirate heist because I feel like pirates would be like if you were like one pirate trying to rob another pirate, and that pirate was like had horrible reputation, like murdered everyone, right? And you were gonna try to rob them, and like this other pirate person would only expect really that someone would try to like.
Well, who's the biggest villain from that era other than the Spaniard colonialists, right?
English?
What if they've?
I don't know.
No, the Spaniards were way worse.
We sit beside the Spanish.
All right, I don't know. Like I'm just thinking, like, what if it's Aztec gold or something? Like that's precious to like.
And people are going to get it back.
You're right.
That's kind of fun.
I've never seen that.
You know what a pretty standard heist trope is? The people doing the robbery tend to want the money for very personal reasons, right? Like mom has chemo, like it's a very basic, like I have to pay for medical bills or something like that, or so what is the version of that here? And it does sound like you guys are hitting on something with that kind of like we need to take back what was stolen kind of thing.
Like what James just said, maybe a heist where locals team up to steal goods stolen by colonialists. I like that. That's fun.
Let's go with it. Let's see what happens.
Let's do it.
Okay. So locals stealing back goods taken by colonialists. And the colonialists are like leaving.
Yeah.
What if the midpoint twist is that they were planning to steal it back before the ship left port. And then at the midpoint, the thing that goes wrong is that the ship leaves the port and they have to get the goods back, but now they're stuck on the ship.
So like they have to successfully stow away on the ship, is what you mean?
But their plan was to get it off before the ship ever left port.
I like that.
And then at the midpoint, the thing that goes wrong is that the ship takes off. So now they have to finish this heist, but they're at sea. So they have to figure out like how they're going to get all this stuff back. And there's no cell phones, so they can't call it back up.
They might have to just pretend to be crew members. It's like, what? I've been here this whole time.
Yeah.
I've always been scrubbing this.
Or they could
deck.
like play
you
the whole
hired
thing.
Me.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're like, yeah, like you imprisoned me, and like you don't know who, you could play into who they are, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that it's something important to the locals, the native people.
Yeah.
Whatever is stolen. So do you like that at the midpoint?
I just wrote it in. Ship leaves.
Oh, nice.
All caps on leaves.
I like the idea
objective
to the people it was stolen from, but I wonder if it could be a little bit more immediate. Like if they don't get it back in time, there will be consequences. Like sort of the bad idea version of it is, they're constantly raided by other pirates who demand that they pay up, and this is the thing that they'd be paying with. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that deadline is coming. Instead of because while I on a sort of a moral compass sense, I like the idea of it is sort of culturally important to them and they want it back. I wonder if there's a way to make that more urgent.
Have more stakes too.
Yeah.
I mean, like medicine would be like one of those things, like something like where it's like they took something from them that now their people are going to die. Like, what if it was going to get them through winter or something? And
right.
Or whatever it is.
So here's my kickoff idea based on that. What if just the protagonist is from this tribe and they have to like come up with a unholy team assembly of random different people in the port from
rogues,
rogues and variety of people with motivations. Because usually the first half of Act 2 is getting the team together. At least in Inception, they do that. Like the heist doesn't actually
that's part of the fun, right?
Right.
That's a lot of the fun, especially in this setting. It's going to be a lot of the fun for them to see, like, who are they going to pull to do this heist?
Right. And so we spend the first half of Act 2, like they're planning the heist, they're getting the team together, they're getting ready, and just when they're about to like execute, we're so prepared, we're going to get on the ship leaves a day early. Oh shit, we have to do this now on the seas.
And somebody's already on the ship. Definitely.
And the ship's heading somewhere specific. So there is there is an off ramp for them. They just have to get it done for that off ramp.
Maybe when they arrive at a certain port, they're going to like rejoin the rest of the armada, which will like be impossible to like escape from.
Oh. So before the ship leaves port and rejoins the armada. How do you spell armada? Is that it?
I can't see that small. Yep, that's right. Yeah, I believe.
Or they're heading towards a port that's swarming with authorities.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Okay.
And leaves port and goes somewhere with lots of bad people.
Yeah.
Right. The really tricky thing that we'll have to come up with is what is the very complex plan that they're doing in order to get this this treasure back, because like as we determine which characters we need to fill out the our cast of specialists, we have to figure out why do we need such and such specialist. Like why would we need a forger in this instance? You know what I mean?
So
to get on the ship, maybe like papers like saying that that I'm authorized to be on the ship. Papers from the king.
There's the classic, like, you kidnap one of the sailors at port and like take his outfit and stuff, and maybe have a disguise artist, like somebody like create like a prosthetic nose, not prosthetic, but like somebody to like a master of disguise character to look like a specific officer or something.
Yeah. I wonder if we should start from the ending, like in a mystery. I feel like you want to start from the ending. I wonder if that's the same with heists, because it might make sense to sort of reverse engineer what the mechanics of it are based on what we think we actually want to happen. So
how about we decide on what the treasure is and how it's guarded on the ship, and then we like find their plan A to get through that. So let's just say it's a treasure room on this galleon, and it's deep in there, and they're like, the protagonist might want one piece of the treasure, but maybe the team wants other like bits. Like it's not like, oh, we're gonna steal everything. Although that might be fun if they empty the entire treasure room on the sea.
So while they're there, somebody obviously is like gonna be like, F them, like take it all. And it's gonna create. I feel like that's the thing that happens, is that like you go in there and then somebody on the team is like, why don't we take it all? And then our protagonist is like, no, you can't. And then then there's a division within the team.
Right.
Or something.
Well, there could be a backstabber in the group.
That's true. Oh, a locksmith.
And they could plan for the backstabber, and that backstabber, like being then backstabbed, could be integral to the plan.
There you go.
Remind me for a second, just to make sure that I'm clear. The treasure, is it on a pirate ship or is it on a government ship?
It should be on a government ship, because those are the best defended.
Cool.
And those are like have more levels and can be more complicated.
Right. So I wonder if like the treasure might be in a room that has decoy treasures.
Oh, that's interesting.
And then we need somebody who has the ability to tell those apart.
So what if there's like a theater person and they can be the forger and the master of disguise, because they can make stuff. What do you think? Or are they separate people?
Might be fun to have them be separate people. I think we would also need a double agent, maybe like somebody who they bribed, or who is somebody who's a member of the ship who wants in on this for some reason.
Maybe they maybe have a conscience,
and maybe they have an ulterior motive. Like they could be like, they want to do this to fuck over the superior officer, and then like frame them.
Or maybe they're just extremely mercenary. Will do anything for money for the right price.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And then that makes them a bit of a, a bit of a gray area because they could then get paid more to turn on our heisters.
I like that.
You know that there's like a lot of in like colonial times. It was way more common than history books Texas history books, I would say, that colonialists would leave the colony and join Native groups, like Native Americans, and like fully integrate into their society because like it was better. And so it was like very, very common. And it was to the point like where they were like writing letters, like I don't remember who it was. They were writing letters about the fact that it was a problem that they kept losing colonialists in this way. So maybe one of the people is like what Michelle was saying, someone who used to work in a Navy ship and then like left the colony and was, and has been like living with Native people. And so now he can use his skill to help. Anyway.
That could work. Also, I wonder if we want somebody whose skill is, say, like a ship architect, and they can actually know all the sort of, nooks and crannies of the ship and kind of prepare them for secret hatches and whatnot.
That's interesting. I like that.
Oh, that's cool. Maybe it could be this person. Maybe they were like, they like
who?
kept
which one?
The person who joined. Yeah, this is what they call. Yeah, James. That's what they called it. They would say that people were going native, that they went native. So it would be the colonialist who left could have been the person who designed ships.
Yeah,
is that too helpful?
Well, the idea of somebody who worked, in the Navy ship being the person who designs ships for the Navy, that would give them an in to understand the ins and outs of these ships, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then if they have a motivation to turn, then
the double agent should be somebody who is like higher up in authority, maybe like has more to gain from being mercenary.
Yeah, I think this is a different person though.
Yeah, I think it's a different person.
Okay, cool. Okay, then I'm all for that.
The double agent could be as high up as like the first mate or something like that.
I would love that. That would be great.
Where it's like I can help you to a degree, but also I can't be visible at all because I will be
a lieutenant, maybe.
I will be executed. Yeah.
There you go.
But then that person could totally turn on them, and then it turns out that we're actually planning for him to have turned on them.
Oh, here's an idea. This treasure fleet is 3 ships, and there's fake treasure on 2 of the ships.
Interesting. But then we have to get from ship to ship to ship.
But like, how would they? Like, why would they also?
I'm just talking. I don't know. I just like maybe
unless
because
it was like they don't know which ship has this specific thing, that would probably make more sense than fake treasure, right? Like, if there's
maybe not fake treasure, but like fake guards for fake treasure.
Or what if kind of riffing on that? It's one ship, but it's different rooms. Like there's the sort of like big cargo hold where they specify this is where we keep our loot. But that's not where it is. It's actually like in the captain's quarters.
Oh yeah, it has to be. It's definitely in the captain's quarters.
And that's something that they figure out.
We need to make the captain a real piece of shit.
Oh yeah. and really dangerous too, like really formidable.
Yeah, really formidable.
Because if the heist involves we get into this cargo hold, and then by the time they get to the cargo hold, it's like big problem. It's not here. Where is it? Oh, it's in the lion's den. Oh yeah, they do call him the lion, don't they? Like there can be some fun.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
Okay, I like that.
Captain POS.
Usually, the new world in these heist movies is like the job.
Captain Leon's the lion.
Yes.
Hang together.
Yeah,
I love that. Right.
Let's add the lion.
Should we? So I saw a comment earlier about like maybe we have a cabin boy.
Well, that's fun.
And the cabin boy is maybe super loyal to the captain.
That could be fun.
So he's like, so that would be someone that the team would like like at some point the cabin boy would be like in a position to either like turn them in or not.
Yeah,
And-
well, if the cabin boy is sort of in indentured servitude, then it might not be clear where he, like, if his loyalty is because he's forced to be in this position, or if he actually likes being there.
Yeah.
Here's a twist,
Yeah.
maybe. Maybe the cabin boy's the one who has the key to like the real treasure or something on him.
Oh.
In that he has the key to the captain's quarters.
Yeah. Right. If we do that. Oh, with that has a whole other implication.
Ooh.
Anyway.
Well, so here's my question. Now that we kind of know these elements, I wonder if we should figure out what the secret actual plan is before we then reverse engineer what the apparent A plan is. Because it always kind of turns out like, oh no, everything went wrong, it failed. Oh, did it? It turns out everything went according to plan. You just didn't know the plan.
Right.
So I wonder if we should figure out that real
I do think
plan.
there are two possible options with that. One is totally, like, the oceans. I call that the Ocean's 11. The other version is the Inception, which is, the plan went to shit and now we have to improvise.
Right.
But I'm not. Yeah. But I do think the Ocean's 11 one is like more rewarding.
Yeah, I mean,
you just didn't know what the plan was the whole time.
They both work. It just sort of depends on what you want the movie to then become. Because, like in the Inception model, it then basically becomes an action movie where you kind of have to brute force the thing into working again.
Yeah.
Whereas the other one is it sort of stays in that sort of intellectual realm where it's more about making sure that it still goes off without too many violent losses.
No, you're right.
Talking about like the kind of approach like we're at the end, everyone's like, my God, we failed. And then the protagonist is like, did we? And then like we see what he's been secretly doing this whole time. That sort of a thing.
The flashback montage.
In Ocean's 11, it's the thing where, spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen it, but like Andy Garcia is like looking at the monitor and he's like, oh, I've won. And then he finds out that he's got a fake feed to the treasure room and that really the crime happened hours ago. And he actually escorted them out of the building. And he's like, has this whole like flashback. Oh shit.
Yeah.
It's from the antagonist point of view.
That's fun.
Sometimes it's from the antagonist's point of view, and sometimes
that film was anyway.
Right. Like
I want to be like
Ocean's
Captain.
it's not.
Right.
Like, if we really make this Captain a piece of garbage, I'd love for him to feel stupid at the end like that. Like that. Like he like let them go. Like maybe their goal is to have to like. What if? Do people walk the plank on colonial ships? Like, what if the goal is that they're gonna walk the plank? Like they like plan to get like thrown to sea.
We could do whatever the hell we want, honestly.
Oh, well, I mean, you know what's definitely going to have to happen just because it happens in all these heists. The captain, who is hapless and definitely not part of this heist, is definitely going to be left holding the bag for the heist. Like, it will look to all the world like he was behind everything that happened, and he will get arrested, and everybody else will get off scot-free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like the idea that he thinks he's going to, like, execute them, and so he, like, throws them off the ship. And really, there's like someone waiting to. Like,
it turns out the sharks are actually people in shark costumes there to like collect them and pull them aside. But I do like that concept. We should workshop it.
Okay, so we decided we're going to do the Ocean's 11 paths of being like there's an apparent failure, but it's really a success.
If we want to go full in heist, I think we kind of have to.
Okay, cool. Okay, so how does it fundamentally? We not necessarily the details, but like the fake out. Is it they arrive at the destination? Like what would be the motivation of the apparent failure? Of like if the idea was okay, we're going to. My question is, does the ship leaving at the midpoint still work? Like. Would they actually be surprised?
I feel like I kind of wonder if the ship leaving should be something that they might actually kind of expect. Like once we go, there's no turning back because the ship is going to sail, and the midpoint could be some sort of betrayal.
Yeah, that's true. And of course, when the ship leaves port, something isn't ready.
Yeah.
Like,
And I'm
someone
thinking
like,
that, yeah.
go ahead.
Oh no, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just there was a delay.
Oh, I
on
was
my
saying,
end.
like, if the plan is for the ship to take off and like they plan to be in the ocean when this is happening, then like somebody important was left on shore.
Right.
Like
Oh yeah,
something, you know, something went wrong with that
someone
part.
chickened out.
Yeah. Or like, yeah, someone got like held up, like their forgery documents didn't let like the, you know, whatever
Or
it
someone
is.
just got too scared and decided not to do it.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking like at the end, like if there's a fake out, maybe it's like the reason behind it is to create enough plausible, you know, belief that the item was destroyed, right? Like everybody, like for all the world, people could be like, "Oh no, the treasure is now at the bottom of the ocean."
Oh, so
But it turns out that actually they just made a big show of that happening to make everybody think, "Oh, the people tried to heist it; it failed to the bottom of the ocean." When meanwhile, they actually have the real one.
So here's one element that maybe we could use for that gag. So let's just say it's a specific statue, right? That they want, that the protagonist wants, that's very valuable. Let's just say it's a golden idol or something. What if they had to make a fake? Like his idea was like, I'm going to replace it with the fake. And it could be like they made multiple fakes or something. And that's like when we thought that the real treasure was destroyed, it was just one of the fakes. I don't know. Just
Yeah,
put
or it could even be like we made a fake, but it turns out the thing we've been chasing all this time actually like the person who's creating this heist knows deep down it's just a housing and the actual valuable thing is inside of it. Yeah, there you go. So like it looks like a golden thing. It actually has been fool's gold the whole time, but there's a diamond inside. So like we made a fake golden statue. We lost both of them, but I got the diamond. But nobody knew about the diamond or something like that. That's complicated, but you know, in that realm.
I liked the idea of whatever it is being a little bit more personal or like essential than just like money, right? Like if it's like medicine is a version, you know, or something. Like where these people were just complete douches to take it in the first place.
Right. Like part of my brain is doing the Indiana Jones, like it's a religious artifact.
Right.
I do like the idea of it being medicine. I wonder, you know, part of me kind of thinks if it's medicine, then it's not that it was stolen from the natives, but rather that the douchebag government is hoarding it instead of giving it to the natives, and the natives need it because there's a plague.
That the colonialists brought.
Yeah, sure, the colonialists brought it, but like the colonialists have the medicine, and they're instead of distributing it to that town, you know, to that village, they're just keeping it for themselves and delivering it to their medicine bank or something like that. And now we just have to. So it is still stealing. It's not stealing back, but it's stealing for a good cause.
I wonder though if we make it like not something with extreme monetary value, like getting the team excited about it.
I was gonna ask people, so what do people here think? We have some thoughts coming in. The item should be of emotional significance to the protagonist, maybe discovered or built by his great-grandfather. That's interesting. Medicine for the natives, but the ship wanted to gift it to their king. Yeah. Or the queen for decorative purposes.
Here's a thought. Midpoint. Oh, Danny Ocean, this whole time you told us that this was gold, but it turns out it's medicine. Oh yeah, I fooled you all. We are stealing medicine for the villagers. Oh, but that's not worth the while to me. Yeah, well, we're too deep in. You can't get out now. You know.
Oh, interesting.
Like that kind of bait and switch on the part of the person running the heist. And then it can end with everybody getting what they want. It's like, we got the medicine and I found gold. You know.
I do think there should be gold on just because it's a great image and because it makes sense for a treasure fleet, like for it to be so protected. It wouldn't make as much sense if it was medicine. Like it would be just stored like a lot of other things. Like if it was gold, what would be something Europeans would desperately go out of their way to protect? I don't know if medicine really has the same security impulse for somebody who's not sick.
When was penicillin discovered?
19th century, I believe.
Was it?
Yeah.
Discovered in the 9th century, yeah. 1870. No, or later.
It's 1928, I think.
Yeah, I guess this is true though. It's like if it was a gift for the monarchy, then they'd secure it. So it just depends on what it is. Because like if it's like that they were sent to get something.
Maybe they just want the gold so they can buy the medicine.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like it still has the stakes, and you have your cake and eat it
So
too.
maybe the people, maybe this like the native group was like collecting gold and was about to go trade it for medicine.
Oh, and they just stole their gold.
And the colonialists just came in and stole it.
That's good.
Yeah.
They had a pot going.
That's a good inciting incident, maybe.
Yeah.
That's an idea. I like that.
Let's do that. Let's just lock in.
Sorry, I need to stop writing caps.
Gold 4!
Medicine!
But I like the idea of, because it's such a staple of heists that they need the money and they are stealing money from the government. However, it is for something that is like we just cheer them on for wanting it. It's not just for selfish reasons.
Yeah, and I really like that. I think that this helps us, and also the fact that it's treasure. I just think it's like a classic guttural. Like we get why everybody till the end would be really motivated.
Wait, so what if? Okay, so here's a version. Ready? What if they they're saving up a bunch of money or a bunch of gold because they're going to trade it with this captain guy for medicine, right? And then like at the exchange, the captain's like, "Thank you so much," and just takes it. So like doesn't give them medicine, takes the gold. So now he's a piece of crap too, like doubly.
And this is in Act 1?
Yeah.
Prologue.
So then we meet the captain when they come and they're like, "Yeah, we're ready to trade for the medicine, blah, blah, blah." And then the captain just takes it all.
I like it. I mean, part of me wants to reveal that in like a flashback somewhere in Act 1 as it is being explained to a member of the group. Part of me wants it to be slightly nonlinear for a heist movie's sake. But I like the scene itself. Yeah. I like that image of, you see, there was this gold that was gathered for this purpose, but then this asshole stole it.
Yeah. And we really need to give a personal reason for why this guy sucks. The antagonist, I mean.
I'm confused. There's a conversation happening in the comments that I'm trying to track.
I think they're talking about the cabin boy. Captain's daughter.
What's happening? It sounds interesting. I just can't.
Somebody recap what this idea is, because we're slow.
It's speeding by and we're having a hard time getting back through it.
Because it seems like a good. I think we should make the cabin boy important. That's just an opinion. So why wouldn't you? Cabin boys don't get enough love.
Yeah.
Phrasing.
Good Lord, Adam. What are you doing today?
I'm sorry.
So,
you're not.
No, I'm not. Someone's going to take this out of context.
So wait, is everyone talking about... Is this about the cabin person, the cabin kid, cabin child, cabin boy? So it's a long list.
The cabin boy is actually secretly part of the team the whole time, and we don't learn it until the big reveal at the end.
That would be great.
Because the kid was like kidnapped or something?
No, I just think that the kid like just had his in or something. I don't know.
Like this kid this whole time that we kind of saw as like an obstacle, it turns out all this time has been doing the real heist.
Right. And maybe the kid's like, actually, the treasure's mine, you know. No.
I see. Some of the suggestions are, what if the treasure itself was a person? I did see a movie recently where there was like a big MacGuffin of like, we have to get this box to safety, and then halfway through it's revealed that the contents of the box was actually a baby.
Yeah.
It's an interesting concept. Anyway,
No, it's cool.
I just think the people from this era are super materialistic.
Yeah. Right.
Not to make gross generalizations about millions of people from the past, but I just did.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is one of those things that we just have to lock in on because there's versions of this that would work. There's like everything would work. So like the one version is that they kidnap. Like
there's something really classic about gold.
Yeah, I love gold. Let's just make it gold. I am just I love that.
It gives more like ability. I mean, like there is like a dick version, like where the captain like probably kidnapped the woman to like bring back to the king, like, you know. But then you're getting involved in some like, I mean that's a version, but we have to just kind of pick one and lock in on it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. The original heist, the original prompt was heist to get a baby.
Was it? Man.
Oh,
do you remember that now, Bobby?
Here's what we do.
It's been a while.
This is really cheap. We make it a gold baby. It's like a statue that's It
reminds me of Even Stevens. Do you remember? Did you ever watch that show? He like
I
found
apologize.
It's like all the natives in our town gathered up all our gold coins and melted it and created a gold baby statue as a token of our please give us medicine.
I mean, let's just do it. We said baby before. Let's just shift it to a baby is my thought. Like, why don't we just do it? And then now they have to try to get back this baby.
A real baby?
Adam wanted gold. Yeah, a real baby. They took it.
Yeah, no, okay, cool.
All right, let's do it.
It's an actual baby.
Yep, so the objective is still back a baby.
So why did they take the baby?
That's what people were talking about before. That the baby might be like the long lost child of the monarchy, and it was adopted. Adam's so pissed.
Oh, I just don't know. I just don't know if we picked the right setting for that idea of to be like very excited. But maybe there is a version. Do we have the right protagonist for that story?
I just
don't have any protagonist.
I'll be honest. I feel
we
like we added like half an hour to our discussion by changing because this is what we've kind of been figuring out. I feel like it's essentially starting from scratch if we make it a baby.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll try a baby heist another time. Let's stick with the gold for now because we forgot.
You can blame me. You can blame me.
Here's a way to have your gold and eat it too. The stated objective is to get the gold because they want to buy medicine. Our guy who's running this heist has not been entirely truthful. The village did in fact gather a bunch of gold for something, but it wasn't medicine. They wanted their long lost baby back, and that's the cabin boy.
Oh, that's good.
And that's revealed at the end. It's like, oh no, we failed. We didn't get the gold. Oh, didn't we? It's like, yeah, all we did was we got in an escape boat with the cabin boy of all people. It's like, yeah, that's what we were here for.
That's
okay,
interesting.
let's do that.
That's good. That's really good, Avi. I like that.
Okay, so that's the twist.
I mean, I'll just log out now. I've contributed. My
that's why we bring you along.
So the sort of false pretenses is they were really gathering money for medicine, but actually.
So we still have the gold thing, and we still have that whole setup where they stole the gold, and oh shit, you know.
Okay,
so
there we go.
There will be some like people in the heist who are like, "That's all fine and good, but I sure wish I got my gold because that's what I was here for." And then the guy will be like, "I saved like 3 coins. Enjoy." You know.
Yeah, the kid stole it.
Oh yeah, the kid is like, the key that I have to the cabin is actually solid gold.
No, yeah, because the captain is like a douche and is like, yeah, with a golden toilet and everything.
I feel like that's something that happens in heists, where it's like if it's a fun heist, everybody like all of our heroes like win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they ultimately like when it's sort of a darker heist, there tends to be a sort of a moral about greed being bad. But if it's like a fun heist, everybody gets what they want.
I want a fun.
Can the protagonist be the mom, and we don't know? or the sister or something.
Maybe.
I like sister.
Okay, let's do sister.
I like sister because it will be more surprising.
Yeah, I'm just thinking in terms of when the cabin boy sees her, does he recognize her?
No, because he was a baby.
He was a baby. There you go.
10 years ago.
Boom. Okay, cool.
Let's find out who our protagonist is really quickly.
I like sister of the cabin boy. So she was like 8 when this little boy was stolen, and so she has like a really intense memory of like this baby being taken by this dick captain.
Yes.
And then she never forgot, and the captain said something really condescending to her when he took her brother, because of course he did.
Of course he did.
Of course.
And she remembers, but the captain doesn't even remember her.
Because he does so many shitty things all the time. It's like all just a blur to him.
Yeah, and then so when she finally is like about to win, she says the thing back to him that he said to her. And it's really emotionally satisfying.
So
he'd be like, oh, you.
And her flaw should be related to obviously how she perceives her loss of her brother. Should be the
like
chip on her shoulder,
fault.
maybe. Yeah.
Maybe she thought it was her fault.
How does she manifest that?
I think through recklessness, like the fact that she's willing to keep important secrets from other members of the group and is willing to kind of risk herself and them, like in sort of flagrant ways that they're not expecting, in order to get this kid back, is just because she's so determined to get him back because she really feels it was her fault somehow.
I love that. She's super restless. Could be like so.
Yeah, like she will do anything to get the kid back, even if it means throwing her friends under the boat.
Yeah, so it's definitely like the survivor's guilt thing that Mick Potts was saying.
So wait, so would it be like she'd throw people under the boat?
Under the boat? Oh my god. This is interesting. But at some point, she thinks that maybe he isn't the baby. Like there's like a moment. Because maybe the captain told the boy a lie.
Yeah.
Like, what if she reaches the boy and he doesn't believe her?
Yeah.
I feel like that has to happen, right? That, like, maybe that's the ultimate test.
There could be that sort of moment of, like, we didn't get the gold. That was the whole point. Was it? We actually got the boy. It was all about the boy. And he's like, I don't know you. And she's like, sure you do. You were, like, 3 when you were stolen. You have some memories. He's like, no. It's like, oh no, are you the wrong boy? And then she like sings a lullaby and he recognizes it or something.
Later on, of course.
In the ending, you know.
While she's on the plank.
Before she dies, she's gonna sing a little lullaby, and then he's gonna be like.
I was picturing them like in the little rowboat, like escaping like the burning ship.
I like the idea that she's on the plank and then she sings this lullaby and then the cabin boy is like, and then stabs the captain.
Yeah, let's do it.
And yeah, definitely. The captain definitely lied to the boy about.
Yeah.
Yeah. What if the reason she has survivor's guilt is because they meant to take her? Like if she's like the heir to the to the royalty on that island, and she was hiding, and they saw the baby who's younger and kidnapped the baby, assuming that the baby was the eldest. So it's like, if she didn't hide, they would never have stolen her brother.
Oh, that's kind of interesting.
I love that. That's good. That's good.
That actually works for the final fight. That she's going to have to walk the plank when she's on the plank. So, the brother chooses
writing
not
a pirate movie.
This is turning into a pirate movie. It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, this is a pirate heist. We'll still have a heist in it.
I mean, how else could they kill her? They could kill her a different way.
I don't think she dies.
No, I know, but they're planning to kill her a different way.
Yeah, the plank is great. Why not?
Okay, good enough. So the brother chooses not to save. Yeah, there you go. The brother chooses not to save her. She's going to walk the plank. She sings a lullaby while on the plank. The brother recognizes her and fights the captain. And the reason why the lullaby matters is because, like, she thinks that she was terrible to him. Maybe like she thinks that she was awful, but like the lullaby was like kind of proof that she like was like nurturing to him. That like I don't know.
It's not so much nurturing; it's more just sort of like a reminder of their connection.
No, but like, why emotionally is that a victory? Like, why is that something she wouldn't have done before?
It would
you know
be.
What I mean?
Yeah, we could, all we have to do is we have to tie it to her realizing that her brother being gone isn't her fault. Maybe there should be like a thing of like the bad version is that like she's doing this for the wrong reasons. Like the bad version, a bad version is like, you know, she realizes during the heist that she's going after the kid.
Yeah. One thing that we want to kind of be careful about, just for genre's sake, is we don't want to be too far ahead of the character here, right? Like,
yeah.
Like I don't want to learn before the heist is complete that actually the point of the heist was the kid. Like I want to learn that in retrospect. So I wonder if there's a way to kind of misdirect about the lullaby to like make us think that actually the lullaby was just her trying to get him to turn on his master. Like if we had overheard the kid humming it at some point, and this feels like a callback to that. And then later on, we could learn that actually, in fact, the lullaby is like what she remembers from their childhood.
Oh, so that's what Michelle was saying. Maybe it's something she uses to comfort herself. And it's like something that the brother recognizes.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking it's a lullaby that he could use to comfort himself that we just sort of get early on as kind of a bit of character color. It's like, meet the cabin boy. He does everything the captain says. He sometimes sings this lullaby when he's afraid.
Ooh.
And then later on when she's on the plank and then she sings the lullaby, we in the audience might think, oh, she overheard him humming and is like trying, and this is like a Hail Mary, like to get him to turn on his master. And then later on we can learn the reason she knows the humming isn't because she overheard it. It's because she remembers from when they were when they were children, and they will be like, oh, wait a minute, they've known each other this whole time.
I like that.
I feel like we need that epiphany kind of in retrospect.
You'll have like the other crew being like, "Aye, that's a strange sea shanty."
the actor, the theater person in the group could be like, "Ugh, horrid."
But I feel like the brother shouldn't recognize the sister until that moment.
Oh. Yeah, that should definitely be the moment.
Yeah.
Okay. So
it's there, we might not realize that that's recognition in that moment. We might just think that he's just winning her over.
Yeah.
So let's just say, like in Act 3, has the heist failed?
They haven't gotten the gold, and they've all been captured.
Right. That's got. Or like, how about
their double agent turned on them?
Right. Here's a bad idea. They've already overcome that, maybe, and she like went back. And like after like her friends partially got away, and she like went back or stayed behind or self-sacrificed herself just to like
sacrificed herself because that's part of her flaw, right?
That but maybe to like get access, maybe to connect with her brother is what I'm trying to say. Like she
everybody
did something.
Yeah. Everybody else got away with the gold and has made their getaway, and then she didn't.
What if best of both worlds? They think that they've gotten away, and then they're caught. Like it goes well until it doesn't.
Right. I like that. I like that.
Well, but then it's not really. I guess the point that I like that she chooses to stay because then she's failing at the ultimate test. It's so like emotionally failing.
How about we have them get away at the ultimate test, and the all's lost moment is like, oh, you thought you got away, but you didn't, and they have to do like this last minute like Hail Mary escape, bullshit thing, and then in that moment she self-sacrifices herself.
Right. Well, there could be that moment where it's like they're succeeding at the heist, but in order to succeed, they would have to escape in the little dinghy or whatever, right, without the kid. And
right, and she doesn't. She's not okay with that.
And at this point, we might just think she's just having a change of heart and is starting to think like, I don't want to leave this kid I just met behind. But then they decide to do that anyway. and that could be, like it could be sort of against her will, or it could all be part of her secret plan.
Mm.
Something, because like it could just be the catalyst that gets her essentially in a room together with this boy.
Mm-hmm.
Like it could have been that until now she hasn't actually had any sort of opportunity like that, and that's why she's sort of outwardly like, we can't go, but it turns out she's just egging them on to go, because that's what will get them caught, which will get them onto the plank, which is where the boy will be.
Gotcha.
Maybe the boy is sort of like the person that they've witnessed, being the, like he's the guy who pushes people off the plank. Like what if like he's the guy they task with actually doing that part? So it's like the plank is where the boy is. We need to get to the plank, but we don't know that that's her intention.
Right.
Yeah. It's just like, how can she fail? Like, she has to be reckless at the ultimate test in order for her flaw not to be resolved. So her self-sacrificing for her brother isn't anything new.
Right. So what if she's reckless in a way that sort of says like, okay, fuck it, I'm not. My brother doesn't know who I am. Screw it. I'm just going to help my friends get away with the treasure.
Well, okay. So here's a question about her flaw. We don't know until the end that it's all about her brother, right? So what do we think her flaw is until that point?
That she's like reckless, I think. That she like is like really, really like fast and loose with her own life.
Right. So maybe like there could be this sort of moment where it looks like we could get away with our lives if we ignore the gold, or we can go hard for the gold and risk everything, and without consulting anybody, she goes hard for the gold. And that's what gets them caught.
That would work.
I don't know if it's enough of a flaw, to be totally honest, but like, I think it's in the right direction.
It's tricky with heists because so much of who the character is kept close to the chest. Like a lot of arc in heists kind of tends to be sort of less a change and more a reveal. It's less the character is starting off one way and becoming another, and more at the beginning we think a character is one way, but at the end we think they're another.
Well, I mean, the other version of this is that she's not doing this for the brother, and then she learns that the brother is on the ship, and she's still prioritizing the gold until the end. That's one way to make it be that her like a more defined flaw. I feel like that's like a traditional way to handle it, is that she's doing this for the gold. And
but that could be a version.
Yeah.
Right. It depends on what we want, right? Do we want the big clever reveal of the real plan beneath the secret plan, or do we want to be sort of entirely appraised of her plan at all times and then the plan changes? We're like, one of them is more character driven than the other, and one of them is more genre driven than the other. So what are we into here?
I think going genre is the fun way. And I also think a great point is, Jan, is if you don't, the ultimate test, the best heist, fun heists typically have, it was always the plan all along, to have it one aspect of it, maybe. Like maybe they have like giant fishing nets submerged underneath the ship to catch the treasure as they throw into the ocean or something. That's something really goofy like that.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
I mean, I will say that there is a version of this that is a two-hander, where there is the person who we believe for most of it is just trying to get gold to, pay for medicine for a village, and then turns out the gold is all diversion. She's actually just trying to get her brother. And then there's the side character who's only in it for the gold, who over time decides the gold is not the most important thing. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So I wonder, like that's kind of the both version, where there's sort of the mercurial kind of leader of the group, and then there's sort of the point of view character who actually changes.
There's also a version where she's ruthless, and then at the end she realizes that she has become more like the captain than she would like.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
I like that.
So it's like she realizes that she's like sacrificed her people, for this, and has to change.
What if she was always planning on stiffing them their gold, and in the end, she makes some concessions to save them some of the gold?
Yeah.
I don't know what that would look like, but that would be a way of going about it.
Like, she was always planning that, like, she didn't really care if anybody got out but her and her brother.
Yeah.
Was, like, the whole thing. And so she, like, had all of these, like the escape dinghy only has room for 2, and she knew it the whole time, sort of a thing.
Right.
Like, you know, something like that, like, where she didn't care about the other people.
Mm-hmm.
And then now...
Oh, here's a thought. Okay. It would require a little bit of shuffling. But let's say she's, like, we know that she's reckless, and we know that she's, you know, been throwing her people in danger, and they've all been kind of miffed about that. Eventually, when things go wrong, she escapes in the dinghy, like, with just her brother, leaving everybody behind. And it's a sort of dark moment, and we sort of learn that that's all she cared about this whole time, was just getting her brother out. But then she might actually decide to make the choice to go back and save her crew who she's left behind.
Because the brother's the mentor, and the brother's like, you're a dick.
Yeah.
That works. I like that.
So it's a big reveal of, like, until that moment, we don't know that it's a brother. Now we know it's all been about this brother. But then the question is, she's won. She's won at the thing that she actually cared about. But there's this, you know, loose thread that she left. Is she going to be that kind of person who leaves that? Or is she going to, you know, risk everything to go, you know, get them out? It would be an interesting kind of heist, because essentially the heist would be over at the end of Act 2.
Right. Or we
Let's
can
do it.
we can make it seem like the heist is over, but at the end, as the dinghy goes away, we realize the giant fishing nets caught all the gold or something. Like
A surprise
interesting.
extra victory.
Yeah, I love the idea of, like, deep, big fishing nets, and, like, there's a scene like, oh, we threw some of the treasure overboard, and the captain lost his shit, like, in Act 2, and then we can make it like thing like, oh, we were planning to do that, and we were planning to escape in this little ship. It's just like the emotional reasons in bringing the kid is changed.
I mean, because I wonder if it should be a different member of the crew who planned for that. Because if it's an accident, then it's kind of a big coincidence. If it's the protagonist, then it means that she never actually did anything wrong, because she was always planning on going back and getting the gold too. So
Right.
I wonder if it should be a different member of the crew who's like, I saw this coming, and I knew that, and I could tell.
And we should tease the net, the big fishing nets early on.
Yeah. But there could be a member of the crew who's like, I saw the looks passing between you and that boy. I knew that you were really here for him, and so I had a contingency plan for the gold when you would inevitably throw it overboard.
So can we? Yeah. Oh, maybe the ex-Navy guy who knows ships is like a fisherman or something. I don't know.
It's like, wow, how did you plan the physics of that? I know boats.
Yeah.
But I do kind of like the idea of, like, we kind of knew that you'd screw us over, and so we came up with a contingency plan just in case.
Yeah.
But we're glad you came back for us, you know?
I think it's definitely like we want it to be like they're finally going away, and like, oh, what? We got the gold too.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's what matters.
So okay, so we're still doing, she escapes in a dinghy with her brother and leaves the crew behind.
Yeah.
It looks like she thinks that they've lost all the treasure.
Yeah.
And she feels pretty kind of guilty about her plan working.
Yeah. The kid's like, you're a dick.
It's like, thank you, I've missed you, but also you're a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also you're like just as bad as that guy.
Yeah. That's the way it should be framed. And she could be like, oh my God.
Yeah, I think she's just like the captain.
I have this ridiculous idea in my head that's, like, really complicated, but, like, I wonder, like, if part of the plan, like, sort of the publicly revealed plan for the group is they're going to escape in a boat with the gold, and they have, like, another ship kind of waiting a short distance away for them to get onto and drive off on. And I wonder if, like, there should be a point where, like, she puts the boy on that boat so that she can go back. And the climax can involve like the captain and his whole crew like storming that boat to get the boy back. And that was actually a diversion. And now they're stranded on that boat, and now our heroes have like the galleon.
I love that.
Oh,
It's
that's
ridiculous.
fun.
It's a lot, but like I feel like complicated is at home in heists.
A galleon, the logistical issue with that is a galleon has like, I think, hundreds of crew members. It was like a big
right.
Spanish treasure ship or something, you know, like
Right, fair.
that's like a lot of people.
Or maybe just the captain. Maybe they, like just the captain storms that boat with like his top men, and then the boat is like set on fire or something.
Right. I like the idea, and I think maybe it could work if they arrive in the port, if they're in like the enemy port or something.
Oh, if when she goes back to save her crew, it's at the port. Like the
and
the
like
crew
most people have left. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe the plan there wasn't to walk them off the plank. Maybe it was like they've all been arrested and they're going to be taken to the authorities at the at the port.
Right. I think we're coming near to something though.
We're getting there. Here's something though. So what if she doesn't? What if? All right, twist. Ready?
Okay.
If we're gonna do what if she just knows that this captain took her brother and thought that he's dead? And she's become really, really like she's doing this out of revenge. She wants to get back at this captain because she thinks that he took the brother, and she's just like filled with hate. Like, she thinks he like killed the brother, and she's like filled with hate. And then the twist is that she realizes that his cabin boy is her brother.
But then she wouldn't have been like going after the brother from the beginning.
Right. I feel like that's a cool story. I'm just not sure it's a heist anymore. Like then it sort of becomes kind of more of a drama.
If she's trying to heist the gold away, and then when she's in the middle of the heist, she realizes that the brother is there.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, that's the other option, right? Like there's the version of the heist where we have the very clever, like here was the plan all along reveal.
Right.
Or there's the version where everything's on the table in front of us, and we just see the character make new choices that change the plan, and both work. It's just that like one of them is more a staple of the genre, and one of them is a little bit more kind of just dynamic drama. So the question is, what do we want to do? Either they're both valid. It just becomes a question of what vibe do we want the movie to have.
I guess what I'm trying to fix is that it feels like we're doing more and more things that are like, this was actually the plan. Like, actually, the plan was to get the brother, and actually, the plan was to get them onto this other ship. And like, actually, it feels like there's like too many things that.
So I'll tell you what I like. Like, I like the idea of there's an A plan and a B plan. The A plan is the one that everybody knows about, which is to get the gold, which is a bit of a diversion. And the B plan is her actual plan that nobody knows, which is screw all that. I just want to get my brother. And then once she's achieved the B plan and feels bad about it, she comes up with a new plan to sort of salvage the first plan. Like, I kind of like the idea of there was only one well actually, and then everything after that is her changing her mind.
So the final fight would be her going back to actually get the gold.
Yeah, I think so.
So we would make the final fight here like more like the All Is Lost Ultimate Test?
What?
The moment with the brother and the lullaby?
Oh, is that even happening anymore?
Oh, we're dropping
I think that's all. Because like the ultimate test is already she escaped with the brother and abandoned her crew. She has achieved Plan B, abandoned Plan A, which she was never intending on doing. Now the question is, does she feel happy about that? And is there a way that she could make amends and right the wrongs that she just did? And then I think that's what our climax is.
And it's like the other crew members all have to have good reasons for wanting the gold. For it, like they think they're getting it for the medicine or something, and all she cares about is the brother, right?
Well, not necessarily. Like everybody has reasons for gold, especially in this era.
Because they're all going to get a cut, right?
Yeah.
But like, why would the brother think that she's a piece of garbage
for ratting out her friends? It was the idea.
Because
I guess it just I think it makes it worse if they actually had a good reason for wanting the gold.
Yeah, but what if they each have a good, like one of them, it's like, my mom's
That's
going
what
to
I-
lose
yeah.
her house and go to debtor's prison,
Yeah.
and with my cut, I will be able to save her house. You know, like that kind of a thing.
That's what I mean. That's all I mean is that I think it
yeah.
needs to be like a good
Yeah.
reason that they want the gold.
And they
Like
don't all.
protagonists like woos them all by saying, "Look, I want the gold for this reason. It's to get medicine for my village. Most of it is going to go to that. You're going to get 10% of it. I'm going to divide among you, but 10% is a lot. You know, like that kind of thing." And then each of them is like, "Well, I have good reasons for wanting that money."
I assume that as we introduce the characters and bring them on board, we'd tell what the reasons were. Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna love them all. Like the audience is gonna love each of these criminals, and like the kid could be like, you know, even if they didn't have noble reasons, I've been a prisoner of Lion for so many years, and I know how awful that is. And you just left a bunch of people to be in that position.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
like that could be fun.
Yeah. Okay, that works.
For some reason, I really like the image of the ship on fire. I feel like that's gonna happen at the end.
So the all or nothing is that she's gonna go back. Right?
Yeah, dead of night, she has to sneak back on the ship and save her crew.
At first it looks like she's captured. There's the catastrophic failure. Right? Like looks like, or maybe it like looks like they're all dead, or like something. Like what's the failure?
It should be something within like 2 minutes. Like it should be like a final thing at the end of the sequence.
All the gold is tossed overboard.
Right.
It looks like they might recapture the brother.
And we could use the fishing nets here as the part of the unexpected success. Yeah. That's my only contribution I care about at this point.
Oh, you know what occurs to me also? Random. There's a trope in heist movies where the heroes disguise themselves as other people in order to escape. And I wonder if they should like here's a really dark version. If the crew dies like on the ship and our main characters like dress up in their uniforms and then come to shore like as them, and then nobody questions them. Like that's like really dark version.
Yeah.
Well, I did write. We have a master of disguise actor character.
Right.
Yeah.
But like ultimately they should be able to come to shore with the gold that they have saved underwater, and meanwhile, like the captain is dead. Maybe
dead or being taken in by authorities or something, or lost.
Someone else had an idea earlier that the captain lost a major. Yeah, Michelle said that he lost a major battle, and this is his way of making up for it.
Mm-hmm.
So he effed up, and so he's going to bring all this gold. And it almost seems like this girl isn't our protagonist, and that the protagonist wants the gold for the real stated reasons. But I mean,
who's the protagonist?
Maybe I'm going down a different hole.
I think the girl is the protagonist.
I don't see her not being. I mean, I see.
Well, I just don't see how the inside incident relates to her. Then
it's her village. Right? She's like, they got gold stolen from them.
But she doesn't actually care.
The actual inciting incident happens in the backstory. The actual inciting incident is when the baby's stolen.
Yeah. So I guess
we just won't see that,
right?
Yeah, we just won't see that. That'll be off screen. We'll have a fake inciting incident where it looks like it's.
Well,
the gold
here's a possibility. Maybe like this is like the most recent catalyst for her. Like this is like. She's been waiting for the captain to come back and steal gold from the village, so she has an excuse to like find him. That's just we can still mechanically have him stealing again.
Okay.
If he's come back.
Yeah, that's
but the gold was to buy him back. So the fact that that instead of
we don't lose anything.
The gold, it's
okay.
It's like okay, we thought we were going to get him back through legitimate means, and now we know that we lost
that. Yeah.
So now I'm going to steal him.
Okay, well, then that's what it is.
Yeah, we just won't reveal that to the audience until way later. So
from the audience's point of view, so that information that it was the gold that from the beginning for the brother comes later. We at the beginning we think, oh, it's just gold for the village.
Yeah. Yeah, we think he's just stealing gold that they were paying for medicine or something. Right. But actually, the reveal later is it was for the brother.
I love that.
Okay. Now,
So
now
goal,
that's
so
clear.
goal. So like, the red herring goal is the gold. The actual goal is the brother.
Okay, that works. Now I got it.
And her
Okay.
flaw is that she doesn't care who she uses and hurts to get her goal.
Yeah, she's a
She's
liar,
ruthless.
right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
she's not just ruthless. She's willing to betray people, right? Like that. Like
Yeah.
she's dishonorable in that way.
So if we framed it as a belief, there's no one I wouldn't sell out to get what I want.
Yeah. And then that changes at the end when she's
Exactly.
willing to, because she gets away. She actually gets away with her brother. She has everything she wants. But,
Yeah.
But her flaw is fixed. If she risks everything that she won to save her crew, then her flaw is complete. Her arc is done. And then she wins.
So there we go.
So let's the two bits. I feel like I have a general gist of Act 3. We don't have the second half of Act 2, and we don't have this. We don't have the second half of Act 1, and we don't have Act 2.
Right. So the second half of Act 1 is getting the crew together and planning the plan.
Or it's the so the way Inception does it, which I'm not against, is that the actual planning of the plan is the first half of Act 2, and the midpoint is like when they start, and then immediately things go wrong. That's a approach. I don't necessarily think it's the right one.
I like doing a different version here because we're going to get like the heist is going to throw us for a loop later in the story, and I feel like we need to spend time getting the group together and planning the red herring plan, and then B, we need to see that red herring plan in motion before that.
So the Act 1 break is like the heist starts.
Yeah, I think Act 1 break is the heist start, and then things start going wrong, and it's like, don't worry, we'll get that gold. Wink, wink. And it's all about getting that gold. Wink, wink.
That works.
And,
so the response is getting the gang together, and the break is starting the heist.
Yeah, and then I think the midpoint is things start going horrendously wrong.
The new world is on the ship.
Heist.
Boat. I'm on a boat.
Well, the heist might also start like in the port too. Like this is where
that's what I mean. I like that the midpoint is that the ship leaves. That like.
So they're not just on the ship. They're like they've got like people at the docks. They've got people, at the tavern distracting guards and shit. Yeah,
right. They're on the boat prior to its launch on false pretenses with the hopes of stealing the gold off the boat before the boat leaves and even realizes that the gold is gone.
Yeah. Yeah, so the ship leaves port. They're still on it. So the new world is now they're at sea and they're going to have to figure out how to get back.
And of course, what the audience doesn't know is that our protagonist expected this to happen.
Yeah, that was the plan.
Yeah, we just don't know that yet. So we're gonna be meeting like I feel like once like the first half of Act 2 is as we are beginning to implement the heist, we are meeting the crew of this galleon. We're meeting the captain, sort of more specifically, we're meeting the cabin boy. We're meeting whatever other sort of members of the crew are going to be obstacles. We are sort of setting up the dominoes for that as things seem to be going smoothly.
So also distracting crew members at the pub. Yeah. They're also like infiltrating the ship with fake papers, disguised.
Yeah. And like even though there's little moments of tension where it looks like they might screw up, like it goes pretty smoothly until that midpoint. You know what I mean?
So then they're figuring out where the gold is being held.
I kind of like that you've set up over there of a getaway car. Like I'm just picturing in this old timey port, and it's like, and then we'll hop in my Lamborghini over there, and it's just a modern day car.
So do we want to make it maybe like a fishing boat
carriage? Well, at first it's like a getaway carriage, right? And then later it could be a boat.
like I like the idea of a fishing boat because it's more plausible than a dinghy, and that's a way you could get the nets.
Yeah.
You're so on those freaking nets, Adam.
I think it's great. I think
Yep.
the image of like underwater of like these like priceless treasure and artifacts and fishing nets is great.
Oh, here's a thought.
Okay.
Here's a
Getaway
thought.
fishing boat.
Random idea. We like the idea of there's a member of the crew who gets left behind on shore, right? A member of our heist crew, team. So I wonder if there should be a point where protagonist is like, you, team member, like run to the carriage, make sure the carriage is ready for us. Team member goes ashore, like, wait, where's the carriage? There's no carriage. Oh no, the carriage left. And then that person's left on shore when the boat moves out. And then later on we could learn there actually was never a carriage. She was always planning on there never being a carriage.
She just didn't want that person on the boat?
Or
like that person, like it.
Or that person
as a threat.
Or that person was the only one on the team who was in on it, and he's the one who mans the fishing vessel to rescue them at the end.
That's an idea.
Oh.
It's like, go get the carriage. The ship leaves. Wait, we've left so-and-so behind. And then later it's like when I told him to get the carriage, I said, the carriage, wink, wink. He says, oh yeah, wink, wink.
Carriage is the name of the fishing boat, maybe.
Getaway carriage. There's getaway carriage on this side.
Okay, so let's see. So what are the names? So ex-Navy guy, his name is Joe.
Okay. Forger is Gordon. Double agent is Levitt.
We need a lot of women in here.
Yes.
The actress, the Master of Disguise,
is who?
Oh, let's have a name, everybody.
Marion.
Give us some names, chat.
Yeah. Chat. What's our protagonist's name?
That's a good question.
Right. Well, she's native.
Oh, right.
We should keep that in mind.
Yeah. Careful. Save her brother to appease her survivor's guilt. Rachel McAdams. Carmen. All right, Carmen is the protagonist.
Okay.
That's like Carmen is
It's a Spanish name.
It's not an Aztec name.
Well, what if she changed her name to better infiltrate society?
So I just looked up Aztec baby names.
Okay.
Which apparently I think Atzi is a name.
How do you spell it?
Atzi, and that's simple 4-letter screenwriting word. But like Carmen could be like their European name.
Yeah.
Or Carmen's the actress. That feels like an actress name.
It does feel like an actress name.
All right. All right. More names, Adam, from your baby names. Esperanza's a fun name.
Esperanza. Great. That's the forger.
Great.
Esperanza.
And like each of these characters have... So I'm thinking like each of these characters has a very specific motivation for wanting to be part of this team and also a very specific flaw. Right?
Yeah.
Like not necessarily something that they have to overcome, but just something that is kind of an obstacle for us.
Who's the double agent?
A big hulking, physically strong person.
Gazpacho. Great. I love it.
Gazpacho, the double agent. What's the brother's name? I guess it should be another Aztec name, right?
Or he should have a Spaniard name.
Boy.
Oh, now he does, right? You're right.
Yeah.
And he's the mentor.
I feel like his name would just be Boy, you know? Like, I feel like they wouldn't even, like, bother with a name for him. Like, he would have an actual name that we would learn later on, which he's like, my brother, I found you. But for most of the story, I feel like he would just go by Boy.
No, I feel like we should still give him a Spanish name as, like, his, like, new identity, right? Juan, Antonio.
Is there
Antonio. I love Antonio.
Is there, like, a diminutive for that? Like
Antonito.
Sort of Antonito. Maybe.
My brother's name is Tito.
Tito. Tito's a good name.
Well, that could be his real name.
I don't think, is that,
Is that an Aztec name?
Yes, it
I
is.
think that's the Spanish name. It is Aztec? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Huh.
I didn't know that. Okay.
I have no reason not to believe you.
No, I just look. I'm on AztecBabyNames.com.
There's a lot of names coming in the comments.
Oh, Tito. I meant the one with the C. Coyote.
Oh, Coyote. Oh, okay. I thought you were saying Tito.
No, not Tito.
Yeah,
I think. Sorry, I didn't see.
I was very
Tito.
confused. I was like,
I
I'm
don't
like
know enough
99%
about
sure.
Aztec culture to disagree.
I don't either. I'm. We would definitely need to do our research if we were actually write this.
Yes.
I would hope so.
All I remember is I grew up with a girl whose first name was Xochitl, and it was spelled like XOTC. Like,
Oh, interesting.
That is a thematic
I
question.
wish I could remember how I could spell it.
So
But she was like native. Yeah.
So let's
Wish I could remember.
iron the rest of Act 1 out, and then go into Act 2, and hopefully that'll fill out most of this. Again, caveat to everybody: this is not like the finished outline. We're just trying to like do a pass, get a story together.
Hey, here's a question.
Mhm.
Our main character, what's her name again?
Atzi.
Atzi. Okay. So
Atzi, yeah.
let's say none of the story is happening and she never found her brother and she's just been living her life. What is she doing? Like who is she? Who is this person before this story kicks into gear? Because I feel like that will help inform Act 1. Like, is she part of high society? Is she like more like rough and tumble, like, doing manual labor? Is she a thief? Is she what is she? What world does she inhabit in this story? Because if, say, she's an underworld type, that's how she knows all these friends that she's putting together for a team, right?
Or she was like, I mean, there's always the fun version where like she technically is someone who's like, I'm reading a lot about pirates right now, and a lot of like really cool pirates are like, specifically women pirates are like from like a wealthy background or like connected to wealth in some way, but decide like screw it and use that to like go do pirate things. And
That's
so
kind of
yeah, like that tends to be the most common scenario for at least for women pirates, which is fun.
So like can you condense that a little bit more for me?
So she would be for this. She would be royalty or something, or like promised to. I don't know how. I wish I knew more about Aztec culture, but like if she's like if she's going to marry into royalty or something, like basically that she's set up in a position of power, but she's choosing to use it to do this other thing. And then that gives you like the ability to like she's like a rebel, like because this whole thing with her brother is like ruined her outlook on everything.
Well,
we can
whatever it is, she. Yeah, well, one of the things that we want to be careful about is we don't want anybody to plausibly say, if you're so rich, why don't you just, why don't you buy the medicine for your village? Like, why do you need to steal gold? Unless we want to draw attention to that.
I think making her like a farmer, but like a family's maybe successful what they do.
Well, I like the idea of her being like involved in piracy. It's just that it would be kind of an ex-pirate situation because otherwise she would already have a team, right? The fact that she has to put together a team means that she is not currently riding the seas with a crew because she could just
or that she's just at the very beginning of this, like that, like she like meets the criteria for someone who could become a pirate. That's what I was more thinking. Not that she necessarily is a pirate, but just that like those circumstances tend to be what allow people to go do that.
Okay, because I was kind of thinking, because I was thinking that if she is, in fact, if she has dabbled in piracy.
She's a well-to-do Aztec girl.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, is that she's like...
That sounds like a bad lyric.
But Adam, you know how like in Inception, in the whole first act, Leo is running from that mysterious corporation that kind of like screwed over. I almost wonder if Atzi should be kind of sort of wanted for something.
Oh, that's interesting.
So that's why I was wondering about the piracy, but I don't know if it's too much of a distraction.
I mean, I like the idea of like her like us thinking she's trying to get money for her village that was stolen.
This is interesting. That she left the or that maybe other people did blame her for the brother being stolen.
But then maybe she wasn't
a version.
8.
But then maybe they're coming back to her being like, our money was stolen, can you help us? Because we heard you can have pirate ties if we go that direction.
So by the way, age-wise, I was picturing that she's like 19 and the brother's like 12.
I think that's great.
Okay. It's also accurate for pirates. Pirates are so effing young, and it's really weird to realize later. Like, like it's very strange to realize how young a lot of these.
Here's an idea, and it might be slightly complicated, but like it's heist are an exposition-heavy genre. What if she is in fact a pirate, and she's often like stolen things and then given it to her village? Like, I got this shipment of fruit, or I got this gold, or like I got this gold together. Like, oh, this contributes to your pot that you're putting together for my brother. Great. And then when their gold is stolen from their village, they go to her saying, "Hey, you're a pirate. Can you get what we want that we were trying to get?" And then she could have a feeling of like, okay, but normal piracy won't work here because Lion is like the scariest, mother effer in the world, and you can't do brute force piracy against him. You have to be smarter.
That would be her response to the inciting incident. Like, no, it's too dangerous of a job.
No, her response is, I can't do what I normally do. I normally am a pirate. However, this requires a heist. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like no, like you. Yeah, like we're gonna need people with special skills to do this one. Like, we're gonna have to pull it off sneaky. We're gonna have to be smart. She's a smart pirate.
She's smart, but she's never done a heist before. You know what I mean? Like, she's a pirate. Yeah. She's often just been like, "I got a gun, give me your stuff." But this time around, she knows that it's gonna have to be more than that.
Yeah. It's
and she could have a reputation already for being kind of ruthless, and she feels like she's kind of like a Robin Hood-y type person because she is. But brother is the one who points out, like, you're more like this captain guy than you think.
You realize.
Yeah.
Would you like you and I?
Oh, yeah, and he would say that to her, and she'd be like, we're nothing alike. And then the brother is like, actually.
Guys, just go away. You both just froze for a second.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Oh, I'm here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just going to say, I think it'd be kind of interesting structurally if instead of following the protagonist and like kind of getting to this in the moment, like instead of having like first the gold is stolen and then we cut to they ask her for her help and she's like, I don't know if I can, but maybe I wonder if we can get it through like an Elliot Page type Ariadne kind of character where it's like as Atzi is like going to people for help, explaining the situation to them, and that's kind of how we learn it. Like these characters could be asking the question of like, wait, but aren't you a pirate? What do you need me for? It's like this goes well beyond piracy,
It's interesting.
Just from a sort of structural standpoint, instead of kind of doing it linearly, because I like the idea of it being a heist where we're sort of clued into a plan, and then it turns out there's a lot we don't know, and then it turns out you actually flash back to the real scene, and they're very outwardly saying, your brother, we were trying to get your brother. We got all this gold together for your brother, and they took your brother and they took the gold,
Yeah, I mean, there's also a version where she stole this gold and is she still planning to steal enough stuff to get her brother back? Like, is that still a part of her character?
I thought she was trying to get her brother back.
That's what I mean. Like, at first, but like the gold was for her brother, was what we had said at some point.
And also to get the gold back because they were stolen. Like, it's a two birds, one stone situation, right?
The village was planning a rendezvous with Lion to give him the gold in exchange for the boy, and Lion just stole their gold.
Oh, so she wasn't doing that. Okay.
Right. Yeah. No, that's the village. That's the thing that kicks it all off. The fact that like
the village comes to her being like, "Hey, estranged pirate daughter, help us out.
We tried to buy our boy back, but they just took the money and didn't give us back the boy." which
But wouldn't she know that wouldn't they all know that that's her brother though?
yeah, well, they would, but we wouldn't because we're not. The village is not involved in the plot.
So we think it's just about the gold, but we find out that it's really
Yeah.
We find out that she's.
Abdi tells people, there's an illness in my town, and my village raised money for medicine. Lion stole the money and didn't give the medicine. So we're gonna steal this. We're gonna steal the money from Lion.
So what you're saying is that we're not going to present that scene like linearly. It's going to be like information that's parceled out through like another character asking them.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that Alexie is
worried
lying
that
to everybody,
that's not-
including us.
I worry that it's not exciting enough to not show it. I mean, we could show it without being clear about what's actually like why it's being
So
taken
we
and
should
what it was
show.
for.
We should show the her family getting
exchange.
robbed.
Yeah.
Like we start off with, they're standing on the shore with their pile of gold. Boat comes, Lion here. It's like we have the gold. Give us what we asked for. Lion's like, no, takes the gold. Cut to Atsy in the city going up to somebody saying, hey, I heard you got a skill. I got a job for you. Oh yeah, what's the job? You know what I mean?
Yeah. It could work.
It could work. Just sort of like making us think that we're being told one story, but actually we're being told a different one.
Cool.
Yeah. I guess it's just, yeah. Well, I think that's kind of like order of information reveal. Like we can still keep figuring out these details. So she's a pirate girl.
Right. I'm guessing that in terms of the beat sheet, it still is what it is. I was just sort of thinking in terms of how the information is revealed in the actual script. Like the script wouldn't necessarily be plotted kind of directly corresponding with the beat sheet.
No, probably not.
Right.
Probably not.
I think that's an interesting thing to kind of discuss with regards to putting together a beat sheet. It doesn't necessarily have to be a linear plot map. It's the information that the plot will reveal, but it could be kind of scattered and hidden and obscured and still have all that information there.
So to go over what we have, basically, backstory is that there was this girl who was like a well-to-do Aztec girl. She had a little brother who was kidnapped by this dick captain, Captain Lyons, and she feels really, really responsible for it. And it's really like made her jaded and ruthless. And she has a lot of survivor's guilt. And her whole mantra is, there's no one I wouldn't sell out to get what I want. And she's kind of become like a Robin Hood type pirate character for her people. Then one day, her people have saved up a bunch of gold and are doing an exchange with Captain Lyons to get back the stolen brother. And then the captain just takes the money and leaves. And so the town asks her, can you help us? And her whole thing is that she's like, if we're going to rob like the worst guy ever, then we can't do it like a normal pirate thing. We're going to have to do this sneakily and smart. And we're going to have to bring in a bunch of people with very specific skills and have to do the world's first heist, basically. And so then her goal now, she needs to steal back the gold before it leaves. Her real goal is to get her brother back, but she's telling everyone that her goal is to get the gold, right? Mm-hmm. So our antagonist is Captain Lyons. He's a super dick colonist guy, conquistador man. And they are on the ship at the port. And all the people that she's connected with are helping her to infiltrate the boat and figure out where the gold is. So there's Carmen. She's an actress and a master of disguise. There's Esperanza. She's a genius forger that can like make something, get them onto the boat. There's Gaspacho, who is is a member of Captain Lyon's crew as a double agent. There's Joe, who was an ex-Navy guy who knows ships. He left the colony a while ago to join up with the Aztecs. And there's also somebody, maybe Joe is driving a getaway fishing boat. So they're at port, and we're setting up the dominoes for everything to get knocked down. They're doing things like distracting crew members at the pub. They're infiltrating the ship with fake papers in a disguise. They're trying to figure out where the gold is being held. Maybe there's other ships. They have to figure out which ship has it. And they're going through everything. Everything looks like it's going to work. And then at the midpoint, the ship unexpectedly leaves port early. And somebody was left behind. A member of the team was left behind on the shore. So now they're at sea, which was not the plan. It was not the stated plan. And they're going to have to figure out how to still get the gold and get back to shore. So now there's going to be new obstacles, which is probably like them figuring out their getaway, like avoiding detection. Like now it's going to be a lot sneakier and a lot more urgent. And at one point, eventually our lead girl, Alexie, is going to find her brother, who has been the captain's cabin boy the whole time. And she's going to have an opportunity to either like help her crew or escape with her brother. And in that moment, she's going to choose to get on a dinghy with her brother and leave the crew behind. So she's completely willing to sacrifice everybody to get the brother. So then they're on this dinghy. They're in the middle of the ocean. And she didn't get any of the treasure. She left behind her entire crew that she brought out here. But she has what she wants. But it's not the victory she thought it was going to be. And the brother tells her correctly, like, you know, you're just like Captain Lyons. You're just like him. Like, you'll sacrifice anyone to get what you want. And, like, now you've left them to a fate that I know. And it's really, really bad to be with him. So that gets her to open her eyes and realize, like, that she doesn't want to be like Captain Lyons and that she needs to go back for her crew. So in the dead of night, she sneaks back onto the ship to save the crew. And something goes wrong immediately, and all of the gold gets dumped off of the boat. All the treasure gets completely dumped off the boat. And she probably the decisive action has to be something to resolve her flaw. We haven't decided what that is, but it probably is something like it could be like a self-sacrifice thing, like where she's willing to risk herself for her crew at this point. As long as, like, yeah, she takes a bullet in some way, and then the crew reciprocates or something, like she's inspired the crew, something, where because she now is willing to put her neck on the line for the crew likes her again, and they all get out, and they realize as they're making their getaway in the fishing boat that the gold was thrown overboard on purpose in order to be caught in a giant fishing net. So they escape. We haven't really specified how they escape and what happened, like if they caught the ship on fire or like what they're doing. But they leave Captain Lyons. Captain Lyons is screwed. They're in a fishing boat making their getaway, and we realize that they have the treasure with them the whole time. The end.
The end. I mean, listen, there's a lot of details that we would figure out, specifically like the details of the heist, but like the story and the character and the overall setting, I feel like this works. This could be a fun movie for sure.
Yeah,
there's
definitely things to smooth out, but like, it's a movie. There's a movie here.
The spine is there.
Yeah,
I do love the concept of an Aztec stealing Aztec gold back. Like that, that's a great pitch. Like I feel like I could say that to a producer and feel pretty confident that wouldn't make eyes glaze over, you know?
Yeah.
And I like the idea of a money heist being a diversion for a human heist. And the idea of that being sort of the catalyst for a big character change. The thing that would have to be figured out, obviously, at this point is what are sort of the fun intricacies of this plan?
Yes.
What is the intelligence here? What are the specific hurdles that they have to overcome? What are the sort of dynamics between the characters on the team? Like all of that stuff is the kind of the really fun stuff that we go to a heist for. But this is the skeleton that you could build all that on top of.
Yeah. So like these characters are going to be what creates the fun of the heist. Like, what are each of these people doing that is like super heisty and fun? And like, how do we take a modern heist that we're used to and put it into this world and have it be interesting? So like, I really like the locksmith idea, like the hacker. Instead, he's like.
So just to clarify for people who might be new to tentpoles, so this is pretty close to being done as a tentpole. But like a finished beat sheet that was like a detailed outline, like I would do like a page for each of the members of the team of like what they're specifically doing and how it relates, like especially for something intricate like a heist. Like this is like a 4 to 5 page document ideally, and then like I would have another like maybe 10-page document of like the logistical reality of like what the heist was, totally separate from character. The purpose of this document is to track the emotional growth and journey of the protagonist as it relates to the setting and conflict and like the core objective and their flaw and inner need and how that correlates and corresponds to the act breaks. So you need to do more if you wanted to write this movie is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I feel like the question is like, when is it okay to sacrifice somebody for others? Because then in the end, it's like that she decides that she's going to sacrifice her, that she's okay with like sacrificing herself for other people. And at first she was going in with the same view as the captain, which was like, screw everybody else, I'm going to get mine. And in the end, she learns that like, it's never okay to like make that decision for other people. And yeah.
There is that sort of like, do the ends justify the means? Ness to this.
Yeah. But yeah, if you were going to continue with this idea, what you would probably do is, like what Adam was saying, you would develop each of these characters. You would go through and start deciding, like, what are some interesting things that could happen that they could have to overcome. Like, I'm imagining like a scene on the docks, like where someone's like checking everyone's papers, like to make sure that they're supposed to be able to board the ship, and they have to try like give them fake papers, or like that there's a bunch of crew members inside of the pub, and they're gonna try to like get them into a room and then steal their, like tie them up and steal their uniforms or whatever it is. Like, what are you doing in this? And then what happens? Like, what would go wrong once you're on a ship that's moving at sea, besides the fact that they accidentally left somebody behind? Like, now they're gonna have to be dodging people. Like, now there's gonna be a bunch of crew members. It's gonna be harder to blend in. Like, now they have to figure out how to get the gold off the ship. They have no way to really communicate with each other. So it'd be like figuring out what specifically is going to go wrong. But now you know what the core of it is. Like, you know, like what this is about and overall what direction we're going. And that's the point of a temple.
And just to answer MC Potts' great question, that captain hopefully ends up broke and in a perilous situation. I hope he doesn't die, but I like the idea of him being framed for the treasure's disappearance and getting.
Maybe they leave him tied up on the boat and then tell his people like, "Hey, get your captain. He's sold you all out," or something. Like where he gets exposed at the end for crappy things he's done even to his own people.
You could do the Andy Garcia thing they did in Ocean's 11, which is sort of like, well, you've got to pay. The government could be like, well, you've got to pay for the lost treasure, and he's like, my private island I was going to retire to.
Well, he could also. I mean, like if we establish what his own personal wants and needs are that are sort of disconnected from the plot, and then just find a way to ruin that completely. So like even if he technically gets to like keep going, like all he wanted was a son and his boy is gone, you know, like that kind of a thing.
He doesn't get his villa.
Really unplaying his villa.
Cool.
Well, he wanted to get a gold-plated ship. Now he doesn't even have a normal ship.
It's so sad.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thanks y'all for joining us. Thanks Avi for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
Helping us with this. I think this is a fun movie.
Yeah, I think it was
Like
fun.
always, it came together.
It's weird.
Yeah, who knew? It's always like one of those things where you like build and build and build and build and build, and then you push it down the hill. And it feels like that's how a lot of tentpole documents go. Is that like at the beginning it's just kind of like a blob, and then you push it, and then it starts rolling.
Push it.
Yeah. So
Just
do
push
you
it.
do a tentpole beat sheet for each character? So you could do tentpoles for each character, but really it's your protagonist. A tentpole is really, really geared towards what specific actions your protagonist is taking to achieve their objective.
Yeah.
Is really what this is about. And so everything is centered on the protagonist in a tentpole document. You might do a mini version of these for other characters. Like you want to know in something like this, you probably want to know what the captain's objective is and what his flaw is and what obstacles he's going to be facing and how he's going to respond. And depending on the type of film, like in an ensemble film, a lot of times you have one main protagonist, but then the other characters have their own wants and objectives going on. So you would probably do something like that for this. That like each character has their own reason for doing what they do and their own specific obstacles and their own way that all this affects them. So
yeah, you'll want to do character
probably
passes.
Yeah, you probably
is
won't have
hard.
every beat for every character though, because it's just.
So what I would do, what I meant by a one pager is I just would meant like maybe a document, and like at the top I'd be like, this is what they want, and this is maybe what their flaw is, and that's kind of all that information. And then I would like logistically point out all of the important things they do in the story, like relative to like the heist, like what are they mechanically doing. I wouldn't necessarily put like that along the act breaks necessarily.
What makes them uncuttable?
Yes.
Basically.
Yeah.
Like if,
why?
like if you cut out this character, does the plot survive? And if so, you've got a problem. The character doesn't have to be there.
That's a good point.
Either make them matter or cut them.
Yeah.
Kill him. John
Kill
would
them,
say.
as John would. Yeah, that's John's line. All right,
Kill 'em
cool.
in the
Well, thank you
cradle.
so much for coming. Next time, maybe we're gonna have to do another one next month. So if anybody has any prompt ideas, this time we'll remember it. Forgot that it was a heist with a baby, but hey, we
did do it. We did pull it up.
We barely salvaged it. We squeaked through.
Thank you, Avi, for making that connection.
Yeah.
You gotta get a baby in there. Always gotta get a baby in there.
So
we'll find out what we do next time. But
yeah. So
whatever it is, it involves babies.
Oh my god, I'm done with babies.
All right, guys.
See you next month on this one, and hopefully see you in coffee class. Oh, and writing the feature. Today's the last day to sign up if you're interested in doing that. It'll teach you a lot more about tentpole documents and specifically like just everything.
The spring class is open until midnight Eastern time, right?
Yep.
Get on that. I cannot recommend it enough.
Hey, thanks, Avi.
Thanks, Avi. So check it out. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
See ya.